Okay, I have to figure out how to get the organizers out of my ear. You can hear me, but I can't hear you.
I think you have to go to the
Okay.
tab
All right.
where the
I think we're good to go. So, this is actually my first Edcamp home. So I'm gonna let. Okay. I think we're up and running, guys.
Okay.
good.
How many of you are first timers and how many of you are old pros?
First timer.
First timer.
How about somewhere in the middle? This is my second Edcamp home, and I've also done one in-person one.
Okay. All right. Um, would anybody like to start to share about gamification and game-based learning?
I can start. I teach high school, and like I said, in the EduWin portion, I worked on gamifying a unit. And I guess one thing maybe we can go around and distinguish, I feel like there's the difference between gamification, adding game elements to the classroom, and game-based learning, where you're bringing in things like Minecraft into the classroom. And so my preference or my interest is more in gamification, but I'm wondering about where you all are interested in.
Well, there's also a third type in there. There's the pseudo gamification, where teachers think if they make a Jeopardy game to review vocabulary, that's gamifying. But I was at a presentation at ISTE a couple weeks ago that basically referred to that as chocolate-covered broccoli. So I mean, I haven't really full-on gamified. I tend to spend a year learning about something before I try it. The students that I teach are very heavily into video games, so I've started bringing elements from video games in, not actually in the instruction, but just, I teach English, so we start out analyzing characters by looking at, the Joker's motivation in Batman Arkham Asylum, or Altair from Assassin's Creed. And then we kind of bond over gaming, but when I saw how much they were willing to fall over each other to compete for dojo points for Class Dojo, I decided I need to look into this gamification thing.
I wanted to use like Minecraft, in where I'm from Canada, Toronto. A lot of people in our area are starting to use Minecraft in the classroom, and they're using it like towards like perimeter area. One of my students this year brought in Minecraft to talk about structures, so he talked about the Titanic and stuff, which was really cool, and what happened with the Titanic, because we did a big unit on grade 3 structures. But I kind of wanted to look more at like how I can start bringing more of that into the classroom and more of that idea into the classroom, because I think it's great. Like the kids, they love it. When we talk about, we had a whole game day where like the kids all brought in their Minecraft game and they all brought in their iPads, and I would love to see like the level of engagement that day was amazing. And we talked about like how they were using it. We talked about all the technology. We talked about, like I said, how like the area of the perimeter, like all the different things about Minecraft. And I know a lot of people around here do use it a lot in the classroom, so I'd love to see how I can bring it in more.
I was at FlipCon this summer, and one of the guys, actually, he received an invite. I'm hoping he will drop in, he's really big on gamification. I've heard of Classcraft. Have you all heard of Classcraft?
No.
Yeah.
And
No.
there's a
Yes.
3D
3D game
trying to
labs.
look it up Yes, 3D Game Lab, where if they're working on assignments, the assignments are just a part of the game, and it assigns them the points automatically. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually at ISTE 3D Game Labs had a booth and they were doing raffles for free subscriptions and myself and I think the other guy you're talking about, Timonius.
Yes.
Yeah, we both ended up winning them, so we're like in there kind of setting up and playing around and it's a fun system. It looks just like a guild portal and you just instead of calling it assignments, it's called a quest and they get XP instead of points.
And what's the name of it again? What's the
3D Game Labs, or I'm sorry,
Yeah.
3D Game Labs singular, 3dgamelab.org.
Okay.
Look, click on your chat button, and I think somebody typed them in.
Yeah.
Kaylin, she typed them in for
Yeah,
us, and
but
then Deb said
although I didn't
badgeville.com.
Oh, Badgeville,
Oh, yeah.
it's not like a interactive, it's just there's some really good articles about game theory, game-based learning, and the elements of gaming.
From what I looked at when I looked at Classcraft, it looked pretty interesting. And it's kind of a way, maybe a light way to jump into gamification. I don't think it's as in-depth as 3D Game Lab, but it automatically, kids can get avatars and kids can form guilds on that site. So anyway, it just seems like an easy layer to add on top of what you're doing. And I think 3D Game Lab makes you change your teaching a little bit more to make it more quest-based in your lesson planning.
It is true. 3D Game Lab does some teacher camps on how to do quest-based learning, but another way to kind of slowly transition, the teacher that I heard from out at ISTE, his name's Chris Avias. He's on Twitter as Teched Up Teacher. I'll put it in the chat. But he didn't change anything for his class the first time he gamified, except the language. He literally just turned into, instead of saying this is worth points, it was worth XP. Instead of getting like dojo badges, they got achievement points, and then he calculated the grades off of that. As soon as I can pull up his site, I'll put it in the chat thing. But he really did kind of the bare bones way of doing it, and it worked out really great for his kids.
So does it turn out to be like a learning management system? Is that what it ends up being, where you put your assignments in there and it calculates the points? Or is it
3D
something
Game
different?
Lab is what Chris did is different, but 3D Game Lab is it's sort of like an LMS, yeah. But then you still have to figure out how you're going to transition that over into grades because it only displays as XP and levels.
And what grade was this for?
High
Chris? School? Or?
Yeah, he teaches sophomore English.
Okay.
While you all are talking, I'm going to go into the Google Plus Hangout and see if I can hit up Timonius to see where he's hiding. He teaches 7th grade English, and I know he has gamified his classroom, so that might be really helpful to us.
Yeah, and like I said, I've had a little experience with it. I put it into practice for one unit. I had students create avatars. They just drew it on a piece of paper. They were put in guilds, and then we had a storyline of this alien invasion, and then you're kind of supposed to prove to them that imperialism isn't worth it, and through these series of missions. And what it added was an element of student choice. There were certain missions they could complete, but they didn't have to complete them all. Some of them were guild missions, some of them were solo missions. They had pickup with the other team, a member from another guild. And then each mission was assigned out of 3 stars, and so if they only got 1 star, they had to redo it. I really liked that element of revision that was there. And it was a real motivator for students. And there was a leaderboard, I believe, on Teachers Pay Teachers. There's a leaderboard kind of system for Google Sheets set up. I haven't looked at it, but that might be in another option instead of 3D Game Labs.
So when you did it on your own, not with 3D Game Lab?
Right, I did it on my own. I set up my, I can give you the link. Tom Driscoll, who might have, I think he spoke at that FlipCon conference as well about gamification. He has a whole series on his blog, and I can post that link. And so that gave me an idea of how to set up a Google spreadsheet, and then that would be my leaderboard. So that was a pretty simple way of doing it. I guess there was the that automates the badges, it automates the levels. That was a really difficult thing for me to keep track of. And I teach in a small school, so I just had one prep of it with 14 kids. I can't imagine trying to do it for many more than that and manage it well.
Right.
What do you teach, Kaylin?
I teach history. I teach 8th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. But this was just for one course, or for one chapter. I tried it out this last year, and I'm looking to try it out for a whole semester this next year.
So how difficult was it to change the assignments and such to word it to missions and things like that?
That really wasn't very difficult at all. I used a lot of the stuff I already had, just kind of changed up the wording and vocabulary of it. So that was really pretty easy.
And did you find there was a lot more engagement with the students when you made it more like that?
Definitely. I think, I definitely saw grades go up for almost all students. Very few students had missing assignments. They were motivated by their guild, like helping their guild to stay high on the leaderboard. They were motivated by the leaderboard as individuals at times. And they enjoyed the idea and the storyline that was there. So I really loved the results that I saw. Some of the feedback they gave me, though, is because I said I was thinking about doing it for a whole year, and they said it was too stressful. They were trying to really, live up for their guild and live up on the leaderboard, and so they were too, because they were getting in all of their assignments. They had like no missing assignments for me, almost the entire class, which for some students that does require a lot of stress on their end because they don't usually do that.
So would you recommend maybe doing it for like a small time, like instead of doing it all year?
Right. So I'm going to try it for a semester because I think it'll be hard to keep the storyline interesting and how I can bring in kind of new exciting elements to the storyline to keep it exciting. I think it would start to get a little bit old unless second semester I can come up with a new story. But I don't know.
Yeah. Does anyone teach primary here? Does anyone else teach like the grade, like primary junior kids, or is everybody high school?
High school.
High school.
Middle school.
I'm 6th grade elementary. Sixth grade middle. 6th grade is middle in my state.
Okay, 6th, yeah. That would be like junior for us. Because I guess like you can do it on all grades. I kind of like this idea. My kids are big on gaming. Like they're big on video games. They're big on gaming. So, but I don't think I would, because I teach all subject areas in elementary. So I guess I would have to pick one area to focus in on. It's hard to do it every single subject.
Or maybe that's where class crafts might be nice for you. It might be easier to do it overarching for all subjects and more of a self-contained classroom. So you might check that out.
Or if
What's
you
it called?
just
Class
like
craft?
Class craft, yeah.
or if you just make it more like generic where they get the XP for finishing an assignment, it doesn't matter whether it's or finishing the assignment on time. Kind of like what you might give badges for in Class Dojo.
Well, that's a good idea too. That's what I did for the day, the tech, like the what's it called, bring in your stuff day. It was a fun day. It was more so, but that's a good idea. Do it as a reward almost. That's a good idea too. Yeah,
I
because
mean,
I'm trying
probably,
to.
I was just gonna say, probably a good thing to consider, and that's why I like Badgeville, is why, like, we had a discussion about this at the in-person ed camp I went to, was why games? What about games makes them so attractive to adolescents and teenagers as opposed to schoolwork, and then focusing on those values.
Because the other thing I have to do is justify it at the primary. Like, it's hard to justify sometimes. Like, that's a big thing, is like with your administration, the parents are like, well, why should they be playing games in school? And you're like, well, it's educational, and I'm always having to prove it. Like, even with Minecraft, when I
Well, that's
brought it in.
if you're doing the game-based learning, but if you're doing gamification, they're not necessarily playing games, they're just doing school as if it's a game because of the I'm trying to find that article on on not game theory, but the elements of games that makes it so attractive.
Now, I'm just in Badgerville now because I'm looking it up. So have you used Badgerville before?
Badgeville, not Badgerville.
Oh, Badgerville, so it's with an R. I
No,
think
not
so.
with the R.
Oh, wait,
Without the
no,
R.
because I am in the right thing. Okay, good. Phew. So I'm in the right website. Have you used this before? It looks good.
I don't use it as a platform. I go to they have a gamification Wikipedia. Um, and I like the reading on it. Like, I'm going to put in the chat the link to the reading on game mechanics, because that really breaks down what it is about games. And you're not going to be able to get all 24 in a classroom just because of the nature of classes, but just being aware of that. Things like, achievements. That's why kids like them. Bonuses, combos. The idea of, you can't possibly get an F in something because you don't fail. I mean, you might not accomplish it, but you can't get negative points. You just go back and try again.
Yeah, that was one thing I really
What game?
loved, the try again aspect.
Can they work more at their own pace as well? Or do you have them work all together all the time?
Who was that for?
They can
Kaylin?
work at their own pace, become more.
Kaylin, you said at their own pace?
Oh, yeah, it definitely becomes more asynchronous. They can move more quickly. And I don't always love that, so I had times, well, today we're doing a guild mission, so no matter where you are, we're all going to do this together. So that's a way to bring everybody back to the same point.
Okay. And Beth, how did you do it? Did you have them all work together, or they could work at their own pace?
I haven't done it yet. Like I said, I'm researching it and kind of working into it. But my idea is that for the most part, it's asynchronous. They work at their own pace, and two, there's going to be, like, thinking of universal design for learning, there'll be multiple different quests for each objective, and they don't have to do every one. They just pick the ones that work best for their learning style, because I'm trying to do standards-based grading, so if they can show me through a performance that they understand that standard as opposed to through a PowerPoint, that's fine with me.
Right.
But one thing I like about 3D Game Lab, and this is why it's cool enough that I'd pay the money for it, is you can load all your assignments in at the beginning of the year, but you can set the quests so that students can't see them until they have met certain criteria, like they've done previous quests, or they've reached a certain level, which they reach that level by earning XP, or it won't show up until a certain date. So I could say, yes, there's a thing in here for writing an essay, but you have to achieve the paragraph writing and the grammar and this other, and be at level 4 before you can undergo this quest. So it is possible to kind of slow them down that way.
Yeah, and I also incorporated bonus missions, so if kids did finish all of the regular missions early, there were bonus missions, and they certainly enjoyed that too.
And I tried to at first, before I got the game lab, I was going to model it after, one of my classes was going to be modeled after World of Warcraft, and the other was going to be modeled after League of Legends, so I was trying to pull the vocabulary from there. And League of Legends has primary objectives and secondary objectives, so the primaries are mandatory, you have to do them. The secondary was kind of like, this will help you out, but you don't have to do them, so that's another way to kind of throw some pacing in there, is to give lots of secondary objectives that'll help them practice skills. But if you have a student who's working slowly, then they're not going to lose grade by not doing it.
That's a good idea.
Another resource, the creator of 3D Game Labs works at Boise State, where I'm taking some grad classes right now, and they had last year they had an online unconference called Quest Boise, and they're having it again this year, July 30th and 31st. I put the link in the chat. And so they have a bunch of experts. Lee Sheldon, who wrote the Multiplayer Classroom, he's a big gamification guy. He's one of the speakers, and I think it's like this where there's basically hangouts online. So check that out if you're interested.
Do you guys find any kids have trouble with this type of learning, or no? I guess high school is different than elementary, though. But.
Well, by the time they get to high school, like when I started flipping last year, the students who complained were usually the like upper end but low achievers, or the high level students, because they had learned how to play school and they didn't want to. What I was doing required extra thinking, so I think some students are going to have a problem with it because they're like, wait, this is different and I was successful the other way and I don't want to try something new. But with that, if you just have a good growth mindset culture, I think they'll get over it eventually.
And how did you bring them into it, like by doing that? Like, you know, like how do you start it in your classroom kind of thing to like bring them into a different mind, like a different way of learning? Does that make sense?
By putting a good, well, first a good relationships with the students and a good classroom culture, like community sort of thing. And we talked a lot about growth mindset and failing. And next year I'm going to do a lot with like celebrating failures early on. Not just, accepting that it happens, but, making a big deal, but in the positive way, not in the negative way. So that they're like, oh, okay. And, I actually made some attempts last year to intentionally fail in front of the students. I put mistakes in my lectures so that I could model what it was like dealing with, okay, I screwed this up, let me do it the right way now.
That's a good idea.
Beth, are you doing, are you thinking about doing thematic units? Are you literature-based in your English classroom, like novel-based, or it's different for high school and elementary and middle, I think?
Yeah, it's very different.
It's different, and also I'm like the maverick on my campus. I'm always doing things differently. Most of our English teachers are novel-based. I'm not. I'm more, I use the textbook, but I'm more like skills standards-based. So I'll usually figure out a thematic unit for each grading period, but I'm not focusing on the theme. That's just so there's some linkage, but I'm not focusing on the theme so much as I am whatever standards we're trying to cover.
Okay. Oh, was that Sharon? You said you're elementary?
Yeah, I'm grade 3. So it's very
Okay.
different in grade 3 than it is in high school, I guess. Well, it is. So it's a very different setup.
So you would start with one subject?
Yeah, because I think if I brought in every subject, it'd be too much. Because I teach all of them pretty much. Like I teach English, math, science, social studies, art, you name it, I teach it. The only one I don't teach, I think, is gym. But so I'd probably have to start with one area. Like I've done a bit of gaming with math this year because we have a really good Ontario math program that someone brought in, and I brought the guy in. He was doing game-based stuff. But I think what I would have to do is start with one subject area, be math or be language, and go from there. Because I think if I did too much and did it the whole, like everything, and almost like someone said already, like a whole year is too much. I think doing every single subject would be too much too. Almost math. I know a lot of people that are doing it with math. Are using gamification with math because it's an easy way of doing it. At least a good starting place for kids. Especially since a lot of kids are so used to in grade 1 and 2, you know, the worksheets and all that. So it's a nice way of bringing it the other way.
Okay.
But it is a
Sharon,
different world in elementary.
Sharon, I am meeting with a third grade teacher on Monday on gamification. She's doing a presentation, and I can hook you up with her afterwards.
Oh, that would be great.
I have her whole gamification presentation that I'm looking at right now as we're speaking, but she's very much into it.
Yeah.
But third,
Christina, could
like
you share how she does it with her third graders? Could you give us a little more information on that?
You know, I can't really say because I'm meeting with her on Monday at Starbucks. I'm going to share, we're going to flip ideas, but I'm kind of looking at what she's, you know, she's got one on Farm Villa that she's doing.
Oh, yeah, Farm Villa. That'd be good, though, if you could.
Is, you know, I kind of said earlier. Yeah, Sharon, I'll hook you up with her, very much so. She's awesome. Like I said, we're just sharing ideas and whatnot. But yeah, she's got Farm Villa on here. She does it differently than she doesn't use Minecraft because we both went to a Minecraft presentation at an Edcamp, and she messaged me that she does it a little differently. You know, I posted on the side, there's the Minecraft EDU, and so if you teach social studies, like I'm going to be teaching social studies again this year, and American history, you can tie it into wars and having the kids reenact wars, so they're physically seeing that. I do know there's a fee with that, but I do know that that's what some schools are looking at, so I attached that. You can just Google search Minecraft EDU, and I think you get a few days of trying it out too, from what I saw.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I know. Like I said, there's a few people in my, I guess, in my board that uses Minecraft and uses the Minecraft EDU, and they find it really successful. They really like using Minecraft. They say that, like the kids, like I said, they use it for. Well, for us, they use it more for. Like I said, for math or for structure building. We don't really do history. Well, we do war. We don't really do war stuff in Canada now that I can think about it. At least not up until maybe grade 7 and 8. But I know they use it more, like they use it and they've been really successful with it, with the Minecraft.
I don't remember if this person was elementary or junior high, but I saw someone else speak at ISTE about gamification, and one of the things she said that was just like really simple is she just created a narrative around the whole thing. So when the students first walked in, there was this narrative where she had created a villain and given I think the villain's name was an anagram of the school's name that she had come up with. And all of the assignments were, you know, if you complete this quest, you weaken the villain, and she would occasionally record videos using Go Animate from that villain to kind of encourage the students. And whenever they had a test coming up or a quiz, they'd give the test some kind of name. And at the beginning of the week, you know, there'd be a little icon, you know, of the test with arms and legs and a really mean expression that would show up random points during the week, and then at the end of the week they take that test. So everything that week would be about, okay, we're doing this to get ready for the battle with the grammar monster or whatever.
I like that idea because at least, like I said, in my area, testing doesn't really start till grade 3, and they're so scared coming into grade 3. We've never written a test in our lives. We don't even know how to. But if you make it more of a fun-based thing, it might take the pressure off. That's actually a great idea to recommend to my school as well, because I do find that really hard for my kids, and it's something we've been trying to get around for a long time now because of the fear of testing, like of tests in general, because they don't really see a lot of tests in grade 1 and 2, and then we have the provincial test in grade 3 too.
Yeah, and there's so many sites out there other than Go Animate where you can just create a free animation of this, you know, this cartoonish big bad guy, and you can record like some even audio sort of. I mean, if you think back to the old Carmen Sandiego TV show,
Oh, I love that shit.
I love that shit too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm singing that now.
Well, where they randomly had, Eartha, whatever their names were, I can't even remember, but they come across the screen and say something that was like a clue or something menacing, and the kids would get all into it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well,
That's a good idea.
I think our time is about up, guys. If you are looking in the chat, I created a Google document just of the links that everybody shared.
Oh, perfect.
So that, because I'm not sure what happens once we close this out.
Well, I also put it. Someone had made a collaborative EdcampHOME notes.
Oh,
Google
there's
Doc.
Beth.
Hi.
Hey.
Nice of you to join us when we're closing.
Hey, what's going on?
I know.
I was in another session. Is this one ending? I guess
Yep.
another one's going to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the same hangout or is it going to be somewhere else? Anybody know?
I think it's going to be a different hangout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so
We needed you
sad.
like 30 minutes ago.
I know. I was in another hangout and I didn't know. So because what happened, I signed up and I didn't get the invite. So then I just joined somewhere else and I didn't see the notifications till the end.
I was going to
so.
say, you suggested this. Why weren't you here?
I know. I tried to jump. It kind of locked me out. I thought I was locked out. So I was like, oh, bummer. I can't join the thing I initiated. That's.
You have two Google Plus accounts,
I know.
So the initial one went to the wrong person.
Oh, okay, got it.
So where do we find those links again? Sorry, I'm just looking
Click on
now.
chat.
Yeah.
I put a link.
Which one?
Well,
Oh, chat
Carla, I think,
information.
made one for just the gamification. The one I put was someone else made a shared doc for all EdcampHOME sessions.
Yeah, got it.
I put all the links in there.
And I can. Sweet, this is
I'm
good.
going to add that one as well. And I'll keep it going, so if, like, there are other things that you want to add, as soon as I find it, this multitasking is killing me. I'm going to open it to edit. So if you all find other information that you think will be helpful, then, add it to your Google Drive, and then, it can just be a living document.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for participating. I hope you enjoy the rest of EdcampHOME.
Hey,
Thank
Timonis,
you.
you still there?
Yeah, I'm still in.
Did you finish the cooperative questing on 3D Game Lab?
For
In the Academy?
Or for wait, what are you talking about? Oh, you talking about that particular quest?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I stopped at 18.
What do you mean 18?
Like once I got to quest 18 and it unlocked everything for me that I needed to do to set up my class, then I stopped.
Okay, because I'm only at I only did 15.
Wait a minute. So I must have done it. It must have been a while ago. I have to check and look. Which one is that? What is that? What are they asking you to submit?
They want you, they get a picture or screenshot of you completing a quest or exploring a new virtual world with another 3D GL camper.
Let me see.
And I don't know anyone else doing it except you.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
So I emailed them about it, but they never got back to me.
Let me see what I have to go back and look and see what I did for that one. I do remember that one. I forgot what I did. I think I went into a virtual world and I just took a screenshot of me in what is that, Second Life?
Even though there wasn't another 3D GL.
Right, and I just sent it to him. Yeah.
I was like, I'm not pulling up my Warcraft again. Maybe I'll go on Second Life or League of Legends or something.
Right. Yeah. I would just do that. I think some of them they understand, but a couple of them they're fickle about. Like one time I submitted something, and I just put blah 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 blah. And they came back, and it was like, this did not meet the submission requirements. I was like, oh, y'all actually read these. Okay. Yeah.
I wasn't that bad. A couple of them I maybe BS'd a little, but.
Right, yeah.
I'm up to 15, and the only one, I'm waiting for them to approve the rest of them, because I've still got the cooperative, and I guess sharing your thoughts is a repeatable.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is that the one you have to go to the guild and post something on the guild site?
Yeah,
Is
you
that the
post
one?
a journal entry, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did it,
yeah.
and then it showed up again. So I was like, okay, this must be a repeatable.
Yeah.
So I'm a few steps behind you.
Yeah, okay, cool. I guess I'm gonna try to jump on this next gamification. Did they post the thing? So I'm gonna get out of here and try to go back to the thing before I get locked out of that one.
Wait, did they post the?
I don't know. I'm trying to look to see if they posted the second session yet. Oh, I got
I
an
haven't
invite
seen
to
the
something.
forum.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but let's see.